Hello, and thank you for visiting my channel. Um, this is very kind of impromptu. I by no means consider myself a professional YouTuber at all, whatsoever. In fact, you can probably hear the turn signal blinking in the background right now as I'm speaking. I'm actually driving home from work. However, I recently received some information on YouTube that was so helpful to me, in ways I can't even begin to explain, in many ways that I just felt like, okay, if I have some information that can possibly help somebody else, I gotta share it. And I may not have the most polished sound system, and I definitely don't have the professional camera and ring light, but what I do have is a little bit of information that definitely might be able to help somebody who is in a similar situation, or who went through something similar to what I went through. It is a topic that's been really near and dear to me recently. Even more so, learning about from my sister, her company, what she does. One of the things she does is she kind of protects ID theft and all that good stuff, protecting people online, whether it be online banking or social media or whatever. So I had just actually recently watched a video about David Dobrik, and it was kind of comparing his influence on his social media followers and the people closest to him to a cult. And in some ways that may sound a little far-fetched, but I'm going to link the video below, because after you watch it, you will definitely see how the person who made the video came to that conclusion. I think it was excellent research. And a whole bunch of things just kind of started coming together at once. It was kind of like a bunch of patterns. It was almost as if the universe was talking to me. And again, I don't consider myself any kind of YouTuber, social media influencer, or anything. All I know is I've learned information that I feel can be very helpful to someone else if they're seeking it out, because I know it was so helpful to me. And I definitely will link also as well some of the information that I am referencing, YouTube videos and the channels I got them from. So I'm gonna mostly be talking about cyberbullying and cybercrime, like cyberbullying, cyber stalking, gang stalking, let's see what else, those sorts of things. Because on the one hand, people think about online bullying, they think about oh, it's not that big a deal. But the thing is, there's a thin line that is crossed. And when a few things begin to be crossed, then it's no longer just not a big deal. It becomes a crime. So I'm kind of going to be highlighting the things that I've learned to kind of help other people identify whether or not they're experiencing may just be, kind of just some unfortunate events, or whether or not it may be a crime, whether it's something that happened to them one time, something that's happened a few times, or something that's been happening a lot. So the things that started occurring is just I kind of had a friend. She was kind of telling me that she was learning about cults, and she was not necessarily studying modern day ones, which we'll kind of get into that a little bit later, but also older ones, like the classic cults, you think of Don't Drink the Kool-Aid, Jim Jones and David Koresh, but more so how all of these cults, the different kind of current reoccurring themes that they have. And the most fascinating thing to me is how so many things, not even just online, followings of influencers or online communities, churches, places of employment, sororities and fraternities is definitely a huge one. So many other things that kind of constitute as like cultish behavior. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about cults. And I kind of, on one hand, kind of use that term playfully, but on another hand, you'll really see why I kind of refer to my experiences being a cult. And then I'm also going to talk about how to fight cyber crimes, mainly if you feel you're being cyberbullied, and more importantly, if something illegal might be happening to you, and the steps you should kind of take and go through. Again, the most important thing, it would be like cyber stalking, cyberbullying. We said that already. Let's see what else. Just different things that you can kind of, pinpoint, and let you know kind of examples of what falls underneath those. Sometimes they include phishing. Sometimes they include doxing or threats of doxing. Sometimes it's just intimidation. Sometimes it could be like, actual flat out threats. So I'm gonna have 3 different types of videos that I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna have one focusing solely on my personal experience. The second type I'm gonna have is I'm gonna be talking to other people who've had the same was I in a cult, because that's the name of the series. It's going to be Was I in a Cult kind of experience. Like, I think all of us have possibly had to ask ourselves that at least once in our life, maybe even more than once. But I'm going to be talking to other people so they can share their experiences, whether, like I said, it be a church they found out might have been, a place of employment that kind of became that way, or anything else, online community, just, maybe their gym, their spin cycle class is becoming a little sus. I don't know. Just kidding, but not really. So, yeah. I immediately went from feeling so anxious and so intimidated to feeling so more self-confident and self-assured and empowered just by the few little things that I learned. So you don't have to feel afraid. You don't have to, feel powerless if someone's kind of threatening to possibly hack you or dox you or smear your name or your character or any of that. You really don't. And just a few quick steps and everything that can help you with that. So since this is kind of an introductory video, I'm not going to go too far in depth in any of those topics. I'm going to kind of break them down, then I'm going to make some playlists. But I'll tell you a little bit about like my experience, how I came to this, and just the most important things that you can learn if you have realized that, you might have been cyber stalked or cyber bullied or any type of cyber crime. I'm going to have some videos that include information for like examples of certain things, such as someone may not come right out and threaten you and say, I am threatening you. But what they are saying can be a perceived threat. For example, kind of telling you that they have certain abilities or they can do certain things, if you kind of can get where I'm coming from, following. So really quickly, oh yeah, I forgot to say, I think the third part. Did I say the third part? I don't know. But if I didn't, I'm going to be talking about actual, like, real, like, legit cults. I'm not going to go too far in depth, but just kind of highlighting them a little bit and giving you an example. And again, showing you similarities between those and, like, modern day ones. I think the first one I'm going to talk about, though, is not the Cult of David Dobrik, the David Dobrik cult, but the video that really opened my eyes. I'm going to link actually the 2 videos that really, really opened my eyes. So yeah, it's going to be about educating people about cyber stalking, cyberbullying, hacking, phishing, doxing, all those kinds of things, and let you know whether or not what you're experiencing may or may not be criminal behavior that is illegal and punishable by law. So, gonna make this one kind of brief, so I don't want it to go like over like 10 or 15 minutes. If it does go over, I'll might have to make a part 2. But basically, there is power in numbers, first of all, because if you happen to know that something that is happening to you is happening to another person or groups of people, that can be established as a pattern, number 1. Number 2, if you think for some reason, by any chance, that you might be a victim of some type of cyber crime and you know who might be responsible, do not let them know if you decide to pursue any legal action. Again, do not let them know. Don't tip them off. Reason being, if you tell them that, likely if they're smart, they'll stop. Especially if they know that you know that they're responsible. A lot of people like to hide behind the cloak of anonymity. However, there are ways that they can be found out, and I'm going to go over a few of those ways. So, the first thing you do is you don't tell them. The second thing you do is you document. The reason you don't tell them is because if they keep doing the behavior, they're basically hanging themselves. And every time they do the behavior, whether it be send you a threat, or you realize that you may or may not have been hacked, or you find out someone else you know is hacked, or who you know has a relation to them, that's a paper trail, a digital footprint. So you need to document that. You need to document what happened, date and time. If you have screenshots, you can do that. Definitely have to do that, because any type of formal complaint or anything you file, they're going to want that. It's going to be very, very helpful. So let them keep, keep shooting themselves in the foot. It may be a little distressing depending on what it is they're doing. Now, obviously, if it's like life-threatening, you want to contact the authorities immediately or sooner, like right away. Okay? But if it's more so kind of like passive-aggressive threats, or kind of the hacking or whatever, be very careful. If you get something on your social media that is prompting you to enter an email address or password for whatever reason, don't do it. So many people think they know what a phishing scheme or whatever, someone trying to hack them and get personal private information from them, looks like. If it seems suspicious to you, pay attention to your gut instincts. Do not provide your email address or password or whatever. What you do is you make a documentation of it. You email Instagram. Find out, hey, Instagram, did you send this to me? Right? Instagram get back to you and say, yeah, we did. Stop doing this. Or no, we did not. Which is like proof, that it's fishy, it's shady. More about gathering, I guess what you could say is evidence. Some things that you could also do is you can, if you're going to be discussing what's happening, first of all, be very vague. If you're going to be discussing what's happening, don't make mention of the person or people by name. Like, say, for example, if you're going to make a YouTube video, don't mention them by name. But if for whatever reason there's more retaliation against you, if they should find out about it, or you think that's even more evidence of hacking or stalking and hacking and stalking, interchangeable. Myself, I created an Instagram account actually called Was I in a Cult? Shortly after I created that, I started getting those suspicious, kind of pop-ups asking me to provide my personal private information. Now, don't enter it. If you did enter it, don't feel bad, never fear, it's not the end of the world, but by all means, please don't provide that. Definitely try not to, but if you did, there's still hope for you yet, and I can definitely talk about more why in a second. The reason that doing something like speaking out, first of all, is very helpful and therapeutic to you, but again, you have to know what to say and what not to say, especially depending on what legal stage you're at. For me, and unintentionally, and again, I did not know this when I was doing it. I was just trying to help myself and a friend and maybe reach out to some other people going through something similar. And you'll kind of see why the topic of cyberbullying, cyber crime, and was I in a cult kind of like go together. Basically, I was just trying to create an Instagram account. Like, you have different Instagram accounts, certain, topics and subjects and whatever. And it's so funny because I did not mention anything by name or anyone by name. However, two Instagram accounts, the new one that I was trying to create called Was I a Cult? Or Was I in a Cult? Was I a Cult? Yeah, you were part of it, you were. And a different one that I have that actually used to be associated with the people who I 99.9% believe are the ones behind this. What happened was the phishing attempt, when it popped up asking me to enter my new email, it said, we have your email on file as da-da-da-da-da, an email address that I never had. However, the email address name that they had was one that they definitely knew because it was the screen name for the account that I had associated with them, if that makes any sense. So you know how you have like online Instagram kind of like fan accounts or fans dedicated to, influencers or celebrities or a show or a hobby, whatever. My screen name had the people that I guess are affiliated with this in it. So that was another red flag that they were telling on themselves, because again, nowhere on that account did I mention them by name. So I'm going to kind of stop here for now, especially since this is the first intro video. I'm kind of like all over the place. Hopefully there's a lot of information there, but there's definitely more. The next video I do, I'm going to have more kind of clear, concise steps. And again, I'll be doing a video more so about like my own personal experience with details, like exactly what happened, the kind of how did I get to where I am. And again, videos interviewing other people who have Was I in a Cult experiences. And then lastly, going to be talking about other famous cults and lesser known cults. But lastly, I just wanted to say, again, if you're going through this, don't let the person or people doing this have control over you in a way that brings you fear. A reason that you need to take a stand and take steps is because this is wrong. It's wrong. It's a crime. If you feel intimidated that someone is going to steal your password or has already stolen it or has means to track you or, unquote, monitor you while you are online or while you're doing anything, whether it just be social media, email, banking, that's not right. No one should have to go through that, and you don't have to. And a lot of times hackers, again, get to hide behind the cloak of anonymity. But there are ways for them to be found out. And like I said, in my next video and further upcoming videos, I'm going to go further into detail on how you can identify a hacker. Myself, I was lucky enough to have a relative who kind of worked in IT forensics. And I'll get in a little bit more of that later. Information on how, you don't have to have like a big budget, like private investigator or lawyer, just to be able to, have means to protect yourself. Okay? Alrighty. So next video, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break down exactly just about everything that happened to me in this community and why it is I am 99.9% certain these people are cyber stalking me and other things, because it happened to other people as well. So yeah, I'm gonna get into that. The importance of IP addresses and how you can obtain an IP address. There are ways people can try to scramble their IP address, meaning that if you have a way to get it, they will make it so that they have a different one that is a bogus one, not a real one. I'm not sure if that's legal or illegal. However, I do know the means of finding out their true IP address that I know of. Again, thankfully, because of my relative who works in IT forensics, those are legal. So yeah, we'll continue this later. And I look forward to being able to help people through a really, really tough, scary situation and just let them know they're not alone. They need to take their power back. No one should have to live in fear at all, no matter the circumstances. Not online, not offline in your everyday life. So anything that can help you achieve freedom and give you peace of mind, I'm all for it, and that's my true desire. Alright, thank you so much for listening. If this video was helpful for you, or if you think it'll be helpful to anybody you know, feel free to like, share, comment, or subscribe, and all that jazz that all the YouTubers say. Have a good day.